Hey, Algebra 2 Trig. We're doing 5.3 reference angles, and the essential question is how do I find reference angles so I can draw my trig triangles? And you need your trig triangles to find sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, so before we start, tell me if it goes back. We're going to write the definition of a reference angle. And also, can you draw those three pictures underneath as well? That way you can figure out what a reference angle is. So this is your reference angle, and this is theta. Okay? All right. Okay, so we're going to first find the reference angle. So let's do example 1. You're going to find the reference angle. And we're going to call this theta prime. Okay. Okay, so part A, let's do, we're going to go ahead and draw negative 292 degrees. Okay, so you know how to draw angles roughly, so I'm going to start. Negative 292, I'm going to go, there's several ways to figure this out. I'm going to show you my way. We're going to go negative 292, so right now I went negative 90. I went negative 180, I went negative 270, and I need to go to 292. Since I went negative 270, I'll have to go 22 more degrees. So right now, from here to here is theta. So from here to here is theta prime. Well, I want to figure out what theta prime is. Typically, I find out in the quadrant how much it is. So since I went 90, 180, 270, and I went 22 degrees, this is 22. Theta is actually negative 292 degrees, but this little area is 22 degrees. If I went 22 degrees, the remaining area, which is theta prime, is going to be 68 degrees. So my theta prime is 68 degrees. That is my reference angle. Okay? All right, let's do letter B. Letter B is, let's do the reference angle for 11 pi over 5. Okay, so again, the first thing I want to do is I want to figure out how many pi's that is. Well, this is going to be 2 1/5 pi. Okay? Because 5 goes to 11 twice, and there's still 1 left. So I know every time I go pi, it will be 180 degrees. So if I go pi, it's going to be counterclockwise. So right now I have gone 1 pi. Now I've gone 2 pi. And now I have to go pi over 5 more. Okay? So again, this theta is 11 pi over 5. Well, the reference angle is actually just this little part. So right here, this is the theta prime. And this is going to be pi over 5. Okay? And again, sometimes I'll need my reference angle to find the trig functions for later on. Okay, part C, a little trickier. Now I'm going to go negative 1.8. So we talked earlier about how if it didn't have a degree sign like this, it's in radians. So this is in radians. I just need to kind of figure out how many radians. Okay, so I need to figure out how much 1.8 is. Well, if I went pi, then I actually went 3.14. Well, actually, if I went negative pi, let's start there. If I went negative pi is equal to negative 3.1416. Okay? Negative pi over 2 is negative 1.5708. So I know it's definitely somewhere between negative pi over 2 and negative pi. Okay, so if I want to draw it, here's negative 1.57. Actually, sorry. Here's negative, this is negative 1.57. And then I need to go a little bit more, which is 1.8. So I'm just going to go about that right there. Okay. So this theta is 1.8. Well, I need to find theta prime. And theta prime is always the angle that it makes with the x-axis. Well, I know negative pi is 3.14, so if I take negative pi and subtract it from 1.8, then I will get my reference angle. Okay, so I'm going to have, so this is negative 1.8. So I'm going to have negative, or sorry, you know what, I'll just take the normal, 3.1416. I'm going to subtract it from 1.8. I'm not going to worry about negative signs because I just want to figure out what this value is. Okay? So if I take that and I subtract it, I will get, sorry, putting it into my calculator, 1.8. So this reference angle is 1.3416. So my theta prime is 1.3416 radians. Okay? All right, and then let's do example 2. And for example 2, I'm going to find sine of 17 pi over 6. And let's say you cannot use your calculator, okay? Well, I want to figure out first, I want to probably draw it, figure out what radians it is, and this looks probably, hopefully, like a unit circle value that I can draw back upon. So 17 pi over 6, another way to write that, 6 goes into 17 twice, and I'll have 5 pi over 6 left over. So it's actually 2 and 5/6 pi, okay? So if I draw my coordinate plane, if I want to go ahead and draw 17 pi over 6, I'm going to go 1 pi, I'm going to go 2 pi, so I'm actually back here, and then I'm going to go, since I went 2 pi, I need to go 5/6 more. So I'm going to go 5, that's a terrible circle, I'm going to go 5/6 more, okay? Okay, so if I went 5/6 more, if you think about it, my reference angle is pi over 6. So my theta is 17 pi over 6, and my theta prime would be pi over 6 because I went 5/6 pi, so I need to go 1/6 pi more to make that entire pi. Or you could do pi minus 5/6, which is also pi over 6. Well, if this is pi over 6, you remember it's 30 degrees. So this is actually sine of 5 pi over 6. So if you remember from your unit circle, sine of 5 pi over 6 is 1/2. So therefore, sine of 17 pi over 6 is 1/2. Okay? And again, you know pi over 6 is 30 degrees. This is your 30-degree triangle. And your 30-degree triangle in the second quadrant was 5 pi over 6, or 150 degrees, which was on your unit circle. Okay? So a lot of this is memorizing unit circle. If you have any questions, write it down. We'll go over it tomorrow.
Lillian sucks. Are you still recording?